Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we are looking at Kaiju number 8, as I'm sure you're shocked to find out, and there will be spoilers for the series and theories that might be spoilers for the series to come. So, if you're not all the way caught up in Kaiju number 8, click away on the link below, go check out my book, Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, and get yourself some good belly laughs while you wait until you catch up on the series. Shoo shoo, spoilers coming. So, let's talk about Kaiju number 8. What am I talking about today? Overall, just where the series is going. We've reached a major tipping point. The deep, dark secret of the main protagonist has been revealed to everyone. He is now working with the powers that be to solve the problems that face him. And right now, we are clearly entering the training arc. So, we have 6 major training arcs to get through, and that's why I think this is going to last a while. And I said way back on at the beginning of chapter 33, where it was revealed that they were splitting up the rookies for various reasons, primary among which is probably they don't know which of the rookies may or may not be kaiju, just like Kafka, and so they're taking them out of their comfort zones and putting them into places where they can be closely observed by the older officers who are more unused to them and therefore more likely to catch any tells that they might be kaiju. But as ostensibly what the rookies were told is that they were being sent out to cross-train. So first off, we have kaiju. Now what I really want, what I'm really hoping for, is that the general director takes Kafka's training in hand himself, because way back before we knew what General Director Shinomiya's specialty combat style even was, my thought was Kafka really needs to train with a brawler. Kafka himself, his Kaiju number 8 form is a brawler. Kafka his instinctive combat style is to punch things. And General Director Shinomiya is himself a brawler, and therefore would be an excellent choice to teach Kafka how to brawl, and it would be a good way for them to bond. And so that's what I'm hoping for. I don't know if that's what we'll get, but that's what I'm hoping for. It doesn't look like Kafka's being sent back to the 3rd, where he would be training with Vice Captain Hoshina, which would be another awesome thing, and I cannot wait until they do their first battle together, fighting side by side. That is going to be so delicious. Okay, but that's the relationship between Soshiro and Kafka is another thing entirely. Right now, I'm just looking forward to some really awesome training scenes between the General Director and Kafka. My only worry about this is that General Director Shinomiya, from the way he moves, from the way he's drawn, he's obviously in a lot of pain. That massive prototype battle suit that he wears, that's essentially a punching machine, has clearly put a lot of strain on his body, and Kafka has already beaten him up once as Kaiju number 8. So any training that the General Director does is going to put a massive strain on his body and will be a sacrifice. Now, if the general, there's reasons for the General to train him himself. There is doubtless very few other people. It's doubtful that there's anyone else in the Defense Force that is as uniquely suited to train Kafka in his Kaiju number 8 form at this point. So on a pure power scale, well, as the General Director said, there's probably less than 10 people who can match Kaiju number 8 for power. Therefore, that's less than 10 people who could train with Kaiju number 8. And of those 10, one of them is clearly Vice Captain Narumi, and he has a big gun with a knife on it, and that really wouldn't do much to help train a brawler like Kaiju number 8. So we're looking at maybe 8 people, one of whom is the commander. So I really think I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot more of the General Director. Maybe we'll learn more about his relationship with his wife and Kikoru and his philosophy behind childhood rearing. Kafka is a guy who gets people to open up and trust him, and I'm just excited to see that relationship. The second training arc will be Kikoru's training arc, but since I've already gone into another video called The Humbling of Kikoru Shinomiya, I'm just going to give kind of the highlights here. She's been moved from her entire life. She's been the head of her class, the best. She was the best in grade school. She was so good that they had to send her overseas to a top-ranked California university just so she could train with people who are remotely near her level. And then, even as part of the 3rd, which is one of the most prestigious divisions in the Japanese Kaiju Defense Force, she was still top rank. I mean, you can just see the smug self-satisfaction in her face as she was just walking over the other cadets. And it wasn't until Kafka got out there in his Kaiju number 8 form and just obliterated the Kaiju who had fought her that she had her first moment of being truly humble. But now she's with the first division, she's average. She is probably sub-average. If every single officer in there is over 40%, her 55%, well, it's going to be about the same as Haru's 20-odd%. She is now in a situation where she's just average. She's probably not the worst, but, you know, she's nothing that sticks out. And that, I can tell you from personal experience, when you go from being the biggest fish in your pond, which was my experience in high school and grade school for most of the part, pretty much everything after 5th grade, I was the biggest fish in my pond. It is a major shock that when you get to university and suddenly you're just average and you have to fight for your position and claw your way up to honors again. It's a very shocking, humbling proposition, and I'm going to love watching Kikoru go through it. All right, then, but the main body of this video, the main focus that I want to go on is Reno and the Three Stooges. Now, Reno's training arc is going to be pretty simple. He's the right-hand man, the Lancer. He is going to get stronger. He's going to push himself. His goal is to get back by Kafka's side. We know what his goal is. That goal is not going to change. And unless he has a moment where he learns something about Kaiju number 8 that really shocks him and sets him back on his feet, or if we learn something about Reno, I'm still not convinced that he wasn't part and party to Kafka being transformed into a kaiju. I'm seeing either his training arc is going to be a side note and we're really going to focus on Kikoru's, Kafka's, and the Three Stooges training arcs, and Reno's we're just gonna kind of flash over to him training with whatever crew he's training with, and his story arc is just gonna be more about introducing the characters that he's training with. Or we're going to get a major plot twist reveal. Now, I see the reveal being one of two things. One, Reno having to come to grasps with something about Kaiju number 8 that really shakes him. Or, given how unlikely that there's anything that could be revealed about Kaiju number 8 that would affect his relationship with Kafka, maybe it's something we're going to learn something about Reno, because I'm still not sure that he was entirely innocent in Kafka being chosen as the host for Kaiju number 8. The window of the hospital room they were in was closed. How did that little kaiju bug get in? The main thing being here is hospitals are specifically designed to prevent parasites of that exact size and essentially shape from getting at the patients. The biggest problem in hospitals throughout all history has been rats and mice getting in to recontaminate the patients. The modern hospital is built to keep parasites like that out. How did that little parasite get in? It didn't come through the window. It might have crawled through the vents, but there's safety system after safety system in those vents to prevent that from happening. Now, it makes a lot more sense if somebody deliberately snuck it in. And the only person who knew that Kafka was there was Reno. So we'll see. We're either going to get a major plot twist, or I just see Reno being sidelined for this training arc. Now, here, let's talk about the Three Stooges. As Reno introduced them, you have Haruichi Izumo, the pretty boy, rich boy, whose dad owns the company that makes the kaiju suits. Now, Kafka has mental control over his Kaiju number 8 form, and he really, really wants to be a Defense Force member. That alone is more than explanation enough for why Kaiju number 8 looks a lot like a Defense Form suit. But if we're talking about suspicious people here, Haruichi is pretty much number 1 on the list of people who are likely to have been involved with the creation of the little kaiju that turned Kafka into Kaiju number 8. If this thing was the result of human experimentation, the biggest possibility that we've seen so far is that Haruichi's dad's company was involved in the creation of that little bug. And it's weird that Kaiju number 8 appeared the same year that the Saikon of the Izumo family decided to join the Defense Force. Remember, in the bathtub scene, Haruichi said that he joined for family reasons. Maybe that family reason was to keep an eye on the resulting kaiju that resulted from the little guy. I mean, after all, what better way to build a better combat suit than to integrate it with the person themselves. So maybe we're going to get a huge revelation off of Haruichi here. Did he send the kaiju into Kafka after determining Kafka was a good host? Are Haruichi and Reno working together? I don't think so, but I think Haruichi is kind of the red herring of the bunch, but it's a possibility. Now, let's talk about his fighting style, how he needs to grow. First, he needs to up his power level. That's done through combat experience and pushing yourself beyond your limits. Haruichi is kind of a wild card. He's smooth and calm and likes to watch other people get into trouble, according to him. He likes to watch chaos from the sidelines, but not to be part of it. So, then again, that's the kind of guy who would test a experimental battle suit on somebody like Kafka. So, but let's see. What the military guy said about him is that he doesn't follow the rules. He's always going off and doing his own thing, and then the military guy has to go in and back him up and save him. But then Haruichi said that's what allows him to get such results. So Haruichi's the kind of guy, he's very tactical and analytical in his personal life, but he doesn't really follow the book during combat. So his story arc is going to be him learning to... if this is a traditional story arc, he will learn to stick by the rules and be more rule following. Meanwhile, the military guy, the rising young star of the ground self-defense force, Aoi Kagaragi. So, what is Aoi going to be doing? He is a rulebook follower. This is a classic shonen manga trope. He is going to have to learn to loosen up, play it more by ear, and react more intuitively on the field, be more flexible. So he's probably going to be sent to a unit full of loose cannons, and he's going to be kind of their anchor while he learns to be more intuitive and impulsive on the field. And he's kind of a dark horse. The military guy is almost like, I don't want to call it like furniture in manga. It's an old trope. There's going to be at least one guy who's a military guy. He's got the discipline. He plays the straight man. This character usually isn't gone into in depth, but that's the standard trope. And if the story has shown it's one thing, it's that the creator is very, very good about turning standard tropes on his head. Now, it's a lot less likely that Aoi is the one who was connected to the kaiju that crawled inside of Kafka, but it could have been a self-defense force experiment. Maybe the self-defense force doesn't like that the kaiju self-defense force is acting so independently of them and is trying to bring them back under their control by developing their own weapons. Maybe Aoi was the one who's watching Kafka, who infected him with the bug in the first place. Hard to say. It says that he turned down a guaranteed future in the Japanese ground self-defense force to apply for a transfer for the defense force. Now, that probably means he could have gotten in without the test, but it could be that this was just a goal of his. He wanted to protect his country in the most relevant way possible, and as part of the self-defense force, because Japan's not at war with any other human nations, he thought he'd be able to see more action and be able to serve his country more effectively in the kaiju defense force. From what we've seen of his character, which isn't much, that is perfectly in line with what he would do. But again, slightly suspicious that he happens to show up at exactly the same time that Kafka does. He might be sent there to observe from the military experience. Now, the one who is the least likely to have had anything to do with Kaiju number 8, and therefore by mystery or murder, if this was a murder mystery, he would be the most likely suspect. We have Reno's BFF, Aiharu Furuhashi. Okay, now, what can I say about this guy? He's got the lowest power stats of the three, and the biggest attitude. He definitely has a chip on his shoulder, probably from the fact that he's always been at the back of his class. He was in grade school when Mina, the rising young superstar of the Japanese Kaiju Defense Force, saved his life, and he wants to pay her back. He wants to be able to rescue people just like she rescued him. He is probably the single most classic shonen protagonist of the three Stooges, and Reno combined too. And he is just normal and standard. he's trying to prove himself. He's got an attitude, very, very much a shonen protagonist, which kind of makes me suspect him now that I say that out loud. But of all of them, he's probably the least likely to have anything to do with the kaiju. He seemed genuinely shocked when kaiju number 9 showed up. But on the other hand, he is conveniently obtuse. He just quietly brushed off Reno's slip up in the hospital room. Like, why are you thinking the old man? It wasn't kaiju number 8 who saved us. He might have figured out the secret of kaiju number 8. Probably not. He probably is exactly what he says he is. But this creator has a habit of hiding secrets behind common tropes. So we'll see. We'll see. He went to a technical college, so not as prestigious as the university that Shinomiya went to, but he's a very skilled young man. What will his training arc look like? Well, he doesn't need to learn to follow the rules like Haruichi. He's got the rules down pretty pat. He doesn't seem to feel the need to flaunt them in combat. But he's not as much a stickler of the rules for Aoi. He's just your perfectly common shonen protagonist. So I think his training arc will be about, we either discover something really special about him, other than his friendship, or it might be about, so I really think that he might have the arc that is implied that Kafka went through even before this. Kafka and Reno began this story as they were both on the lower end of the power scale. And their first combat arc was really about embracing that and understanding that they are going to be support. And I think that Aiharu's arc might be about really coming to embrace and accept the fact that he's never going to be the powerhouse that Shinomiya is. He's never going to have Haruichi's skill or Aoi's precision, and just accepting that he's really, really good at support. That's how he saved Reno and helped take out number 9 when they fought him. And he might, start trailing after Kafka like a puppy, saying, teach me how to be awesome support. Now, we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 separate training arcs. Now, Reno and Aiharu and Haruichi and Aoi might be paired up. I don't think so. I think they're each supposed to be scattered to their own division to be completely separated from their support structure for the secondary reasons that they're separating all the rookies. But there is a good chance that they could be paired up, which would probably half the development time of the story. But we're looking at 6 separate story arcs here, because each one of these characters is going to have their own story arc. And if we have 6 separate story arcs, that is if each of them only gets 1 chapter, which I don't think is going to happen because Kokoru got a full 25-page chapter just to get the start of her story going. So we're looking at least 2 chapters apiece. So we're looking at least 12 chapters, probably closer to 24 chapter arc. Now, this doesn't even take into account Kaiju number 9, because Kaiju number 9 is going to be having its arc along this same time frame, and I think that's going to be very telling. Remember, Kaiju number 9, when he molted, said, time to take that Kaiju power back that's fallen into human hands and give it back to the Kaiju. But he still, a lot of people seem to think that that's referencing Kafka and Kaiju number 8, but he directly addressed Kaiju number 8 as a Kaiju. So I think I did another video on this, how I think number 9 is capable of spawning basically sacrificial bodies. He's able to create a full copy of his body that can act independently and send it out to do a job. These bodies don't have a core or don't have a true core, so he can just sacrifice them fairly easily. Now, the body that we saw was very, very close to Tachikawa Base. It named the city and the apartment complex, and and I looked it up on Google Maps. It's very, very close to Tachikawa province or wherever that is. So I'm thinking that the Kaiju number 9 body that we saw molt at the end of chapter 38 was a new body that was grown to capture the super weapons, because we know that Kaiju number 9 has information on the defense force. It knows about Captain Mina, and it knows about some of the weapons that they have. and it's been learning about them and studying them. I think that body was a secondary body, not the main Kaiju number 8 body that has a new human form and that battles Kaiju number 8. So I think that other body is going to be going after the specialized weapons made from the numbered Kaiju. Now, how is that all going to tie into the training arcs for the rest of them? So it's setting Kafka to the side because he's not going to be getting his weapon. He is the weapon. You have Kokoru, Reno, Haruichi, Aharu, and Oi. And each of them, one of them at least is going to end up with the number 6 weapon, I'm sure. Pretty sure it's going to be Reno, but we'll see. Again, this creator has a thing for plot twists. But it's entirely plausible that Shinomaya's going to get, that Kikoru's going to get a new weapon, and it's entirely plausible that one of the 3 Stooges is going to get a new weapon. I don't think Aiharu will end up with one, but I could be wrong about that. So we're looking at least 1, possibly 4 separate of these Kaiju super weapons being handed out to these rookies, probably at the culmination of their training arc. And I'm thinking that at the end of their training arc, they'll all be brought together to test out to see if any of the new rookies are compatible with the Kaiju number 6 weapon, because the weapon's been in cold storage. They're really the defense force is almost certainly going to want to have it out there on the streets, making use of it. So I think that these training arcs are going to culminate with a sort of tournament arc, or not a tournament arc, but a trial arc to see who can wield the number 6 weapon. And I think that number 6 weapon is going to be one of the main focuses of what Kaiju number 9 wants to get back. So, or he's just going to try to lure out the most powerful captains who are wielding these weapons, which means that Shinomaya's life is probably, Big Daddy Shinomaya, his life is going to probably be in danger because he has number 2, which is a super powerful weapon. But I doubt that he's been using it a lot. So I think that the weapon, the number 6 weapon, is going to bring in each of the powerful rookies, the ones that we know and love, and all the people they've been training with, and they're going to try it out to see who gets to use it. And that is going to draw in Kaiju number 9, or the Kaiju number 9 body, and he's going to try to steal it. And this might be where Kafka gets to demonstrate how awesome Kaiju number 8 is in front of all of these hot new rookies when he goes in and saves them from Kaiju number 9. So those are my thoughts. That's where I see the next super arc going. We're going to have either 6 or 4 distinct training arcs. One for Kikoru, one for Kafka definitely, and then possibly one for each for Reno and the 3 Stooges, but possibly one each for Reno, Aiharu, and Aiharichi. So 4 to 6 separate training arcs, all culminating in a big trial arc to see who gets to wield the Kaiju number 6 weapon, wherein Kaiju number 9 will step in, wreak havoc, leading to Kafka having to rescue them. Therefore, giving the rest of the rookies a good idea to judge his abilities. I think Kafka will be training with Commander Shinomiya. Well, I hope Kafka will be training with Big Daddy Shinomiya. Kikoru is going to be getting herself properly humbled. Reno, absolute standard shonen arc. Haruichi will be learning that he has to follow the rules more often. Oi will be learning that he has to cut loose a little more. And I just don't know about Aiharu, but I think, if anything, he's going to learn to embrace a support role more thoroughly. Aiharu is going to start modeling himself after Kafka and Kaiju number 8, and then we'll see how that goes. All right, so what do you think? How do you think the next chapters are going to go? If I'm right, we're looking at a good year or 2 of chapters dedicated to the culminating training arc when the weapon number 6 gets handed to the chosen rookie. And I, for one, am happy because this probably means this manga's in it for the long haul. We're looking at maybe not a One Piece, but at least I think we're at least going to get more than 100 chapters out of this manga. So, what do you think? leave a comment below dicing my theory up. And if you want to laugh at something while you wait for the next chapter to upload, go check out Humans Are Weird. I have the data available in audiobook, print book, and ebook. Peace out, my wonderful viewers.
The book from author Betty Adams, Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, is a humorous look at human behavior through the eyes of aliens. This book is arranged in separate reports or essays, documenting the experiences with humanity through the lens of the aliens who have to interact with them. This anthology of short stories and vignettes from alien points of view highlights some of humanity's quirks we can all relate to. Author Betty Adams captures how strange and interesting humans can really be. This is a fun collection of stories you will really get a kick out of. Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, from author Betty Adams. Order your copy right now on Amazon.